Welcome, everybody, to Conversations. I'm so excited today because, as you know, we have recently partnered with MyPillow, and they are sponsoring our ministry. We even have our promo code of Kim Clement, and so it is our great honor today to welcome Mike Lindell of MyPillow. Right, Mama?
Yes. We're very excited to have you today, Mike. We've followed your story for many, many years. In fact, my mother, she's recently passed away, but she was 92 and she had MyPillow.
So she loved MyPillow.
Yes,
and you know what? We've all followed you for many years because my dad, one thing that he was really all about was the Christians in the marketplace. You know, a lot of people become Christians and they want to go into ministry always. But my dad felt that the Christians needed to be in the marketplace and making a difference in the world. And you are a supreme example of that. And your testimony has just been so inspiring to us and our viewers and our partners for many years now, more than 10 years. However long MyPillow's been there. As soon as we saw you, we said, you know what, we're not buying from anybody else. We're not going to support Bed Bath & Beyond and Target, who turned out to be Satanists. We are going to support MyPillow. So that's where we get all of our sheets and our towels and we love the pillows. And so really it's very exciting for us to actually finally get a chance to meet you. So everybody knows we're actually meeting him for the first time right now. And so again, welcome for joining us at the house.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, so first of all, can you just give us sort of a brief story for anybody who might not know, which is probably not anybody, everybody knows your story, but anybody who might not know, just so briefly, how did you become a Christian and start MyPillow?
It's really not and start MyPillow. Well, actually, I was actually here. This will kind of get you here. I was actually saved on February 18, 2017. That's when I was born again. So you go back in time and you're going, well, wait, Mike, you wore your cross all the time on TV. And I said, yeah, I did. I wanted to be that person. God chased me my whole life. I was an addict in every way, a functioning addict. I was cocaine, alcohol, gambling. Then I got into crack cocaine and invented MyPillow in 2004. I used to have bars. I was always an entrepreneur. I sold my bar I had for 13 years in actually 2003. That wasn't a real good place for an addict, but I think people get the perception that addicts are homeless in the street with no, nothing. Right. And that's not true. It doesn't matter how many forks you eat with. Addiction is everywhere, and it masks pain. It gives you false courage. It does many things. And for me, one of the biggest fears I had, by the way, was speaking in public or talking without having. When I worked at my bar, when I would bartend. If I didn't even have a bunch to drink or on cocaine, if someone came in and there was no one there someone came in that I didn't know and there was no one else in the bar, I would literally go up and get them a drink and say, let me know if you need anything. And I'd be over in the corner dusting off a bottle going, please leave, And I realized later after I wrote my book, it was fear of rejection. And, you don't get rejected if you don't talk.
Right.
So when I invented MyPillow in 2004, for 20 years I had raised a family, very functioning addicts, and we had 4 little kids, and so I invented MyPillow, and that was divine. I had dreams that God gave me, and that's how that came about. It was about a year to invent, but I was turned down immediately by box stores, and just like they are now, right? It was like deja vu here now. But I had a parallel track where I was also a crack cocaine addict, and things happened. I mean, I have the book, What Are the Odds from Crack Addict to CEO. During that time, I think everything led up to me being saved. And here's what it was. By the time I got divorced in 2007, I was losing everything. We were making the pillows in our living room, basically packaging them and stuff. And people were taking the company. I had been so much betrayal in my life. And in 2008, it was pretty interesting. I was downtown Minneapolis, in fact, incidentally, right where they burned up everything down there, and a few years ago. But I was hiding out down there. I had a warrant out for my arrest. I had been up for, I don't know, 12, 14 days. And I came out of the one drug dealer's, one of the bedrooms, and all three of the biggest dealers were standing there, and they knew of each other, but they had never met. And I go, what are you guys doing? They go, we're cutting you off. You've been up for 14 days. I'm arguing with them. I go, what is this, an intervention or what? They go, call it whatever you want, Mike. But, we're cutting you off. So the two of them leave, and the other one sat and asked how much crack I had left. I'm showing him, and this is about 8 in the evening. By about 2 o'clock in the morning, he had fell asleep in the chair waiting for me to run out of crack. I'm already carpet farming and scraping the pipe, and I look over and I sneak down to the streets of Minneapolis, and you go get a copy of my book. I sneak down to the streets of Minneapolis, and I couldn't buy crack anywhere. I spent an hour down there. I came back upstairs, and he's waiting up for me, and he says, how'd that work out for you? And I said to him, I go, I was all upset, and he goes, here's exactly what he said. He goes, you've been telling us for years that you're going to quit someday, and you're going to come back and help us all out of this drug world we're living in. And I had already told them that I would talk about, I would tell them about God. I read about it in Revelation when I was in jail, and I was doing all this preaching, trying to convince myself, right, that about God. And anyway, he grabbed my phone. And he goes, give me your phone. I'm going to take a picture of you for that book you've been telling us you're going to write someday. Remember, this was in 2008. The cover of this book, if you see where it turns into a bad Mike, good Mike, that picture, that picture is the bad Mike. Now, I didn't quit there. The story gets quite long, but I'm going to bring it up to, I quit everything on January 16, 2009. Overnight. And at that point, everyone said, I thought that that's when I was saved, and because it was such a drastic change. But I remember the night before, and I prayed to God, and I said, God, I knew I had this big calling, and MyPillow was going to be just a platform for something really big. And I knew if I waited one more day that there'd be two paths in my life, and the one path would be shut down forever. And that would be a guy. I worked at a drive-in movie theater back in the day, and I compared it to the second feature. Here's the first feature, second feature. If I didn't quit that day, the second feature was out of the question. Somebody else would be picked. And, but I woke up that morning and I asked God to free me of all the desire for the addictions. And
Yes.
and they were gone. That desire, I've never had a desire again. Now I actually went 2 months later to our church and went there and said, I wanted to find out why I was an addict in the first place. I went to this outpatient treatment, and I told him, I said, I'm not, I quit 2 months ago, and anyway, I went in there, and they didn't talk like a secular treatment center. It was more like, tell us about your father, and tell us about all these things from childhood. And I'm going, what does that have to do with anything? And but they planted a lot of seeds that later became a reality. And so leading up to, I'm going to fast forward through all of that stuff when I first did my first MyPillow infomercial and everything. And in 2015, in the spring of 2015, I was writing this book, and I had all these stories laid out, hundreds of them of my life, right? And piles of transcripts. And I said to this pastor, I was working with this pastor at the time, and I said to him, I said, I don't know what to leave in to what to leave out. And he looked at me and he said, just grab any story. And I grabbed one story like December 1986. He said, read it. And I read it, and he said, Mike, the normal person would get on their knees and say, repent and for surrender to Jesus on the spot. He said, maybe all this is happening for you so you can, and what it was all these mini miracles of my life. I look at, hence the name, What Are the Odds? I look at the God exists by mathematics, going, if a 1 in a billion happens, or a 1 in a 1 in a million, a 1 in a billion, or you look at some, say, this is impossible. When do you add them all together and consider it a miracle, right? And so here, after that, things started happening to me that are impossible. One of them, I show up I'm at the White House. I thought with my record, realize I've had 14 near-death experience. I've had stuff happen to me that, that you wouldn't even believe if you didn't have in the book. I have pictures of these things I kept all my life. Well, anyway, one of the things, I got to the White House and I was at a manufacturer summit for USA products, right? And I had never been, I go, wow, it was surreal. I'm walking in the White House going I never thought I could even get within 100 feet of the White House with my record, right? Well, anyway, here I am in the White House, and the president sits down next to me. I met him before one other time. He sits down next to me. This goes live on national TV, and all my old crack friends at home are going, what is this crack addict doing on TV with the president? This is impossible. Jesus is real. But anyway, this all led up to when I was saved on February 18, 2017. Remember, I'd always wore my cross on TV. I thought I was already, because I believed in God. I just didn't have that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And when I went to this thing, it was for veterans, and I'm not a veteran. It was kind of like a retreat. They called it a drop zone. And I got there and I went in with hope that I would have come out of there and be, have that relationship. Well, on the second day, I did this full surrender, and it was such a relief for me that I didn't have, people say that what drives you, Mike, what keeps you going? Well, that day is what keeps me going. When I had that, I had forgiven myself for something 25 years prior that nobody even remembered, or 30 years prior. And it was interesting. A month later, here's a guy that couldn't talk, basically. You see me in commercial. That's a lot different than doing speeches, right? Here I went. Yes. 2 months later, a guy that couldn't talk to two people in the same room without getting anxiety. I spoke before 50,000 people at US Bank Stadium in Minnesota at a Christian event. And about a week after that, my granddaughter and I are out at at an amusement park here in Minnesota, and all these kids were coming up, these 20, 25-year-olds coming up going, your story meant so much to me. I found the Lord there that day, because they could see it was something in the story. I was just telling my story in a real short form. And so there I knew that I was on the right path, and it's been it's been a miracle ever since, because I couldn't have done it. Had I not been surrendered that day, I couldn't be where I'm at now. There's just no way.
Yes.
And you know,
awesome story.
Right, I know. And the thing is, we've actually been following you before any of it. Right when you came out, like I said before, right when you started MyPillow, we were encouraged by you and your story. And so we started to just support you. And so when I joined the Reawaken America tour and you were there, it was so exciting for me. Of course, I'm a little bit shy about introducing myself to people, but I have seen you there and I've been watching you. And especially when it came to the 2020 election, right, because of my dad and the history of what my dad did, he prophesied that Trump would be a trumpet. He prophesied about this this person who would come into office who would be causing trouble, essentially, is what he prophesied, and exposing things, especially the fact that God showed my dad that Trump would be a trumpet. If you think about a trumpet, it's a very loud noise, and it gets your attention, and I think that's why the analogy there.
Well, before you say something there, you said a thing about your dad, say that he would expose things. I've been saying for a long time, everyone, the 2020 election will go down as the most important election in history, because all the things that have been exposed. We're in the greatest revival in history. We wouldn't be there if we wouldn't have had all the stuff that was shown by December of 2019, how good things could be physically here. And now now the things that are being destroyed in our country, this spiritual battle we're in of biblical proportion, people are pouring into this bucket. Not only this bucket of common sense, but also pouring in, looking to God, looking to Jesus, because they don't go there when times are good. They usually go there when things are not looking so good.
Exactly
That's
right. And you know
That's
what?
right.
That's what Daddy saw as well.
Yes.
He saw this occurring, and he was seeing it, of course, in glimpses. You know, Paul in the Bible says we prophesy in part and we see through a glass darkly. And that's how it happened with my dad. You know, he didn't always understand everything that God showed him, but he was a very bold person, a very unique person, and he really did speak out at a time that right before everything started to happen. You know, my dad passed away in 2016, but we have continued the ministry. And I wanted to tell you, though, about the election, because what happened is in the 2020 election, when that was coming up, the whole time I kind of felt like I knew what was going on. And one thing that my dad saw was that in America, we would be humbled and then some more, but then we would hear the sound of great victory. And ultimately that God had a plan, and it was only God's plan, and how it would, the people would be involved. This is going all the way to the World Economic Forum and those people. He saw that stuff too. But he saw in particular in April of 2015, he said he was praying at the end of a service, because he did church services online, and he was praying, and he said, I see a king falling. I see a king falling. And he said, there's a wall. Now remember April of 2015, nobody was talking about the wall. Trump hadn't announced anything. And he said, there's a wall that's being built that will not be completed because of a takeover. And on another time, he spoke about particularly Rudy Giuliani. So when the 2020 election, when all that happened, it was a very tumultuous time. I'm sure it was for you as well. It was for us. I knew to listen to Rudy Giuliani, and I followed everything he was doing. I looked at every single, when he was having the hearings and those meetings, and all the people were coming up and testifying. Right. I watched every minute of it because, you know, I thought I knew what was going to happen. And God really showed me how things work. You know, God plays the long game. He's not stuck in our moment, you know. And then I saw what you were doing with the election, exposing the election fraud that occurred. And, you know, we had to deal with censorship to our YouTube channel. We almost lost it because I was out there just saying, they're frauds, they're cheating. Right. And I could see because God had, through my dad, shown me just enough that I knew who to look at and who, because it's been so difficult to discern through this, who's telling the truth anymore, because all of our institutions seem to have been infiltrated. Mm-hmm. And, but I saw what you were doing, and I remember feeling, I've been very defensive of you, Mike, because I saw what you were trying to show people when you did it was the election summit. Is that what it was? I watched the cyber symposium.
I can bring you back. I want to tell everybody something about 2020 and in November and December of 2020, everybody, I was out doing my own investigations. And one of the things that I watched the most that bothered me the most was every state that I found, everyone had all these non-residents that voted in another state. So like Nevada, like you had 8,000 people that voted there. And I just couldn't imagine, hey, let's run in Nevada and vote for Biden and commit a crime. I couldn't imagine thousands of people doing this, right? Or in Minnesota running into Wisconsin. And so I want you to hold that thought for a minute. But that bothered me. Now we got up to, you know, everyone knows all the evidence that was poured on this country in December and November of 2020. It just poured out everywhere. You know, 106,000 votes coming down in the middle of the night for Biden, 3,000 for Trump. They told us it was mail-in votes. The mail-in votes were counted on the morning of the 3rd in Michigan. So all these things poured in. And I do mathematics. I went around the country and looked at different counties going, this is mathematically impossible. Pennsylvania had more votes than voters. All these mathematical things, impossible. One county, the other candidate got 0 votes in her own precinct. Just different things like this were in. But I will tell you this, on January 4th of 2021, I was down in Georgia with the 2 senators that were there. You remember the runoff? And we were down there, and I was with our real president, Donald Trump, at the rally. At that moment in time, I got on my knees and prayed to God and said, God, please have them steal both those senators. Please have them steal both. Now, you're all looking at me going, why would you do that, Mike? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I'm into marketing, and I always look at what are people going to think here, and what are they going to do? If I would have been their marketer, I would have said, give them back a Republican so they shut up about this election, right? If they gave back a Republican, we wouldn't be talking right now. Everybody would have said, oh, come on, be quiet, Mike, be quiet, everyone. We still have the Senate. We'll campaign hard. We'll get them back in 2022. Well, no, you're wrong. But by stealing both of them, remember, evil is greedy. This is very important, everybody. Evil is greedy. They stole them both, and then you remember where you were standing. Everyone's going, oh, maybe there is crime, because now you see doom coming into your country. They're going to pack the Supreme Court. Who knows what they're going to do, right? So everybody had this doom. But they had a backup plan, too. If anybody spoke out or did anything, because everybody went into this panic when they stole them both, which they did, they had January 6th planned, everybody. Now, here are 2 dates that everybody forgets. January 7th and 8th will be 2 of the most important dates in this country's history. And why? Those are the days we got through and we won. Those are the days we started winning. And you say, well, why? On January 7th and 8th, 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed on Vimeo, YouTube. Churches were deplatformed. Anybody that spoke out was deplatformed. The rest of the country, the rest of the people were put into fear. So you didn't dare speak out because of January 6th, right? Well, that's the day that they tried to. I always compare it when I'm talking to. Back in the day, as a kid, we had black and white TVs, and if you turned them off, they would go down to this little tiny dot on the TV. This little dot, this white dot. Well, think of that as our voice, everybody. And we would play as kids. And on January 7th and 8th of 2021, that was our voice, and it was just about out. And then they would have won because. Just like Ronald Reagan said, we're like a beacon of light on a hill. If the lights go out here, they go out everywhere. That they had to beat us with silencing us forever, like they did in Nazi Germany. Okay, now I remember on January 9th, I was given my evidence on January 9th. You talk about a miracle. This guy he gave it to me. It was Dennis Montgomery where I got this evidence from. This Dennis Montgomery, I find out he's in the CIA, the government. He built this Hammer scorecard, all these things. But at that time, I get this evidence. But one thing he explained to me was, wow, I was right. All these people didn't commit. Millions of people didn't go commit crimes. It was done with machines. It was done with computers. And I knew that. That was the only explanation. But now I have the evidence. So as you all know, from that point on, you've had all it's been since then. We've had all the evidence in the world. This is 2.5 years later. We've had all this evidence. And what I compare this to, the state of we're in now, everybody knows who Al Capone was, right? So here's Al Capone back in the gangster days in Chicago. And I'm going to do this analogy at this event I have coming up. But this Al Capone, they had all this evidence, but they with murder and bootlegging and gambling and all this corruption, racketeering, they had all this, but they couldn't get him on any of it. Why? Because he had all the judges in his pocket or in fear. He had the media. He had the police. He had everything in his back pocket. And by the way, he also loved early voting because then he could see how much he had to cheat to get his politicians in power. Now, it looked very hopeless in Chicago at that time. If you were a citizen back then, you're going, it seems like this is hopeless. Doesn't anybody care? Why are these judges doing that? Why are they not making decisions? Why is he not arrested? Why are we living like this? Now, to compare that to where we are the last 2.5 years, no judges have ruled on the evidence on merit. We get stopped at every single turn, mostly by the Republican Party, by the way, everybody. For some reason, they stop us when we're canvassing, doing all these things. With Al Capone, they said, hey, let's come at him at a different angle. Let's get him on tax evasion. When that was brought up, Elliot Ness, who worked for the FBI, says, well, I don't know. That doesn't sound serious, but you know what? It's to try something and it's going to work. And they got him on tax evasion. He went to Devil's Island. He went, they arrested him. It was over for them. Now, here's what I'm going to do. In the last 2.5 years, we're in the same position in our country. There's successes in every single state. You name the state and I'll tell you where the hope has been, but you don't get to hear that hope. You know why? Because they took away our conservative media. They took away Fox News, Newsmax, Salem Media. None of them can speak out about the elections for one reason or another. That's a fact. You cannot go tell, hey, there's a case going on down there in Arizona by Kerry Lake. It's getting appealed again. You're not going to hear that. They're not letting Kerry Lake come on and talk about it. They're never going to let Mike Lindell come on and talk about anything, because on September 4th of 2021, Smartmatic They sued Fox. That started what's called lawfare. It hadn't been done in our country since 1798. And everybody, If you speak out, you get sued. It's bizarre. And in fact, when I was on Jimmy Kimmel and sat in his claw machine just to get the word out, the first thing I said to him when I go, Jimmy, remember when we were kids and we thought these carnival games were rigged, but we spoke out, but we didn't get sued speaking out, did we?
Yeah.
So the position we're in is in August. If you go to lindellevent.com, I'm telling you, we have a plan that we're going to tell the world. Now, everybody, you really need to listen to this, everybody. It's never been thought of before. It's never been done before. It's never been talked about before. So you can guess all day long, oh, you're going to melt down the machine. No, that's been talked about. You're going to go to paper ballots and count. No, that's been talked about. You've never heard about what we're going to announce. And everyone, and I say everyone because this isn't a Democrat or Republican thing. Even the Democrats, Republicans, everybody is going to agree. The people are going to go, this is awesome. Why didn't we do this sooner? This is the answer, everybody. Everybody, with all those great things going on in our country, everybody has been looking for two things, hope and a plan. Don't we have a plan? They're out there doing, let's go ballot harvesting like the Democrats. No, that's what they want you to do. You do all this and you don't have a plan. You have to have a plan, and everybody's got to get involved, but you can't get involved in something that's not going to win. And you can't, we fought many states to get rid of ballot harvesting and make it illegal. Now you're going to make that illegal. You can't, they didn't win by ballot harvesting. They won by fraud. This is the uniparty. I want everybody to know that this is not the Democrat Party. This is the uniparty. You don't have to go further than Georgia to know that. All three of those Republicans down there, Crooked Brad Rassenberger, Brian Kemp and Chris Carr, the governor, the secretary of state, the attorney general of Georgia, you're a Democrat down there, you ain't winning. They control that state, and they're worse than anything. The uniparty that's took over this country a long time ago, we've got hope now, and we're going to announce that. And you can go to lindellevent.com right now. I will tell this: if anyone does that, I will send you a gift, an online gift right now. In fact, I will even tell everybody what it is. The book we talked about, I'll send you an audio version of my book, the audio book, and just going there. If you go there and check out lindellevent.com, you get my free audio book, and I do it myself. One of the hardest things I ever did, by the way, 2 days of living those things where the cartel's cutting my head off in Mexico and guns to my head and all these different things that are in there. I mean, there's story in there. I fell asleep on a motorcycle once at 17. Going skydiving, crashed the motorcycle, got back up, went down there, and my parachute didn't open, all in the same day. So there's a lot of crazy stuff in there.
You know what, Mike Lindell, you're definitely a very interesting person. But you know what? There's something, your heart is very kind, and it comes across that way. And so that's why sometimes I'll feel like defensive. And I actually watched that episode of Jimmy Kimmel where you went on there, and you were such a good sport. And, they can be quite nasty, those people. And you really, I was so impressed with how you handled this.
Thank you.
And it's very helpful, that kind of thing, because a lot of people don't know how to handle this. They don't know how to handle having a conversation with someone who you know doesn't know, and you want to tell them, but there's so many barriers. Like you said, they're just silencing and silencing us, and that's something we have dealt with.
And you guys, here's where we're at in our country. This plan. We had to get around the media. The only way this plan fails is if people don't watch this event. I'm telling you, if people watch, it works. And what I've had to do, what they've done with me, I'm just talking for me now. Over the past 2.5 years, they've attacked me. The left media have attacked and attacked and attacked. But you know what? I welcome that. Just like I had to go on Jimmy Kimmel and everyone's going, why would you embarrass yourself? Because I want to get the word out. And you know what? If that's the only way I can get the word out by being attacked, remember everybody, I asked Dominion to sue me. Does everybody remember that? I said, so evidence can get out there. And by the way, the evidence that now that the government just released 2 weeks ago, the gag order, or the judge ordered that Dennis Montgomery's evidence, the original evidence I have, that can be released now, and he's subpoenaed to talk. That's just 2 weeks ago. This is how they've slow played everything, and so they want to push it past the 2024 election, and all these things that were put in 2020. All these illegal things by Secretary of State, early voting and 7 million registered ballots mailed out in Michigan. The legislatures make the law, not the Secretary of State. But we can't get the word out unless, I'm getting out through getting attacked because Fox News, Newsmax, and Salem Media, these outlets will not have anybody on to talk good or bad about fixing our election platform, which is really sad. It's like having weather channels and they can't talk about hurricanes or tornadoes. They can't tell you about hurricanes or tornadoes, and they're a weather channel. And I'm telling you, everybody, here's the worst thing. If they want to silence me, and it's happened 4 times, they just don't attack me. Okay? That's why I built frankspeech.com. So I have a show every night there, a voice. If I could see that coming, I go, you know what? If you can have all the evidence in the world or the best product in the world, it doesn't matter what you have if nobody can hear you.
Exactly.
That's why it's so important that shows like here, all our stuff where we've shifted now, where people are getting their news from and reaching out. That's what's happened in our country too. Our voice has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, but in a different way. Look at all the social media platforms that have popped up since this happened. You got Truth, Frank Social, you got Getter, Gab, Telegram, all these different platforms that have popped up. Cloud Hub, and before that we had 2, Suckerbucks, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes. True.
That's exactly right. But you know what it is? We are kind of in a change, and in change there is always... It sort of shakes things up. People have to adjust, and I think there's the potential for so much good, and I think it was a necessary thing that happened. Just like you said, you asked Dominion to sue you so the evidence could come out, and that's something we really understand. But it's hopeful in that. You can see that the people, and I really believe it is the majority of Americans, do know what's going on now. They're starting to figure it out. And so, 100%. And the hope for that is that God actually showed this to my dad years ago, that it would be the people who would rise up. The people would rise up in the streets, and he spoke about a remnant of people he saw that would rise up and it would overcome this. And he actually saw the rise of a Fourth Reich, which he prophesied that from Paris, France, and from the Netherlands in 2010. And he said he saw the rise and the fall of a Fourth Reich. And so we look at the World Economic Forum, and you see that bigger global agenda happening. And there's, like I said, there's a potential for so much good with this change. The technologies that we would be afraid of have the potential to do a lot of good, but we see this overtaking of evil, which is what the devil does. And he always does things the same way because he's boring. Like you said about those the two senators.
Well, evil,
He's so predictable and boring, the devil is.
Evil is greedy, and I want to tell everyone, I remember when I spoke from the White House, from the Rose Garden, and I spoke out there, that was seen around the world, and I said, God's given us grace, we need to spend time in our Bibles, spend time with our families. Well, that was the number one story. I did 109 interviews in 5 days, heard around the world. Well, people come up to me all the time now, and they say, Mike, this doesn't feel like grace. And I go, absolutely, this is grace. I said, we're in the best time in history to be alive, because you know what? All these bad things going on, we're going to get to this beautiful place out here, and you're going to look back and say everything had to happen just the way it did, and on God's timing, because people, like I say, they don't look to God and things are going good. You think in December of 2019 that people are going, oh, thank you, God, getting on their knees and surrendering? No, your lives had physically improved here on earth. Well, now things are going pretty bad. You got open borders, fentanyl killing people, all these crazy, this nonsensical, evil stuff going on. So people are looking for hope, and that hope is Jesus Christ. People are pouring in.
That's right.
And once you get in this bucket, you don't leave. And
Right.
and if you want to talk about a political bucket, you talk about my good friend Donald Trump. I told him the other day too. I said, sir, you have a bucket here. This is after the second crazy hoax indictment and attack there. And I said, you have a bucket here. And I said, once people come, they're pouring in from both sides. They're onto these attacks and this nonsense. It's like they're like the little evil that called wolf. They just keep attacking. Oh, wait, that was fake. That was fake. That was fake. That was fake. He's got to be the most clean person in the world, all the stuff that they threw at him, and he comes out. There's nothing here, right?
Yes.
And for me, I already told everything I did bad, so they can't. For me, they attack in a different way. I already told them I was a crack addict. Yeah, what do you want to write about it? You know? And you know what they're doing? And here we have this bucket. So I said, sir, they're coming in from every angle. Once they're in your bucket, you've done nothing to lead that bucket. You already proved you can be a great leader, and you can get, and the stuff that manifests from that helps all people. And I said, no one has a reason to leave that bucket. And I want to tell you, when I said they have a different way to attack me, this just happened to me last night. If you look up Mike Lindell and hit news, they don't know what to do with me. They never have, right? They could say, Mike Lindell sued, his evidence is bad, blah, blah, blah. They can do all that stuff. They can't. They can attack my company, which they've done, tried to bankrupt me and all this stuff. They've attacked in every way imaginable. They started a new one last night. This article came out. How much is Mike Lindell worth? And they start listing and complimenting. For hard work, you can get what Mike has. 16, I think it's 6 yachts, 4 mansions, 12 of these cars that I couldn't even pronounce them all. But all this stuff, he makes $30 million a year, and he's putting all this in there. Well, it's like they're putting in, so people are going, well, that greedy person, Mike Lindell, no wonder he can do all this. Here's the reality. I drive a Ram pickup truck. I have a house. I have 2 houses. They're both just normal houses, $500,000 houses, normal houses. I said, I'm not a material guy. I mean, I spend every dime I make trying to help this country, every dime. Something's over here. I do have the Lindell Recovery Network.org. It's a free online platform to help addicts. That's free, you know. So all these things but now they're trying a different angle. Well, if we can't get him here, let's tell people that he's this materialistic guy trying to change a paradigm of who I am, right? It was disgusting. And that one bugged me. I'm going, just let it go. I'm praying to God, just let it go. It'll go away. People don't believe that. They don't believe anything they say anymore in the media, you know.
No,
we don't.
No, they don't believe it.
No, we don't believe it. And anybody who's paid any attention to you over the past few years can see that for themselves. And what's going on is things have become so obvious. Right. So when, for instance, the Sound of Freedom movie just came out with Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel, right. And you notice Rolling Stone did hit piece after hit piece after hit piece. And it said to me, What are you guilty of, Rolling Stone, that you have such a problem with this movie? I mean, they make movies about all kinds of things all the time. Why they got such a problem with this movie? And there's something going on. And I know I'm not the only American or the only person that's thinking that way right now. And it's what you said about the uniparty is 100% correct, because that was my independent observation. I said, these people are working together. I'm looking at they get up and they're in Congress there and everybody's speaking. Then you see pictures later and they're fist bumping each other and nudging each other. And I'm just like, well, this is obvious. And then what you said about the Republicans, it was such a surprise to me because I didn't really look at politics until around 2015.
That's right.
And when I started paying attention, it was like, hang on, we should have all been paying attention this whole time. So I want to tell you right now that what you're doing right now, you've been so brave and you have taken a lot of hits to where it makes me mad, Mike. I want to go after people when they're mean about you. I don't like it. And I don't even know you, but I can feel it's wrong and I don't like it. And I know I'm not alone. And I will say this, what you have sacrificed and what you've done, God is going to bless not only you, but generations, because the blessing goes to 1,000 generations, and that's going to happen for you. You will be remembered in history for what you've done. And it is such a great honor for you to sit with us today. I know we don't know each other, but we will, because I'll be at the Reawaken America tour in Vegas. Are you going to be there?
Yep, I'll be there. And that's the same month we're building up. We have 3 weeks, everybody. If everybody, the best thing you can do for me, and by the way, I give God all the glory. He blessed me with a platform for everybody's voice. I feel that it's just a platform. I speak out for the people. They don't have this big a platform, and I've been able to navigate that to be attacked, to bring it out. Right now, I do need everybody's help, and you need to go to LindellEvent.com. I'll even send you my free audio, but you need to sign up to watch that event. We need 2 to 3 million people to watch this event. You're going to have it. It's going to be streamed for free on Lindell TV around the world. By the way, in 80 languages in real time, I'm doing it because this plan is also going to bring hope to many countries that have already succumbed to the computers. The last one being my good friend, President Bolsonaro in Brazil. They lost their country to the machines. But all these people, I've talked to many, many countries in the underground, from Venezuela to Australia. All these countries, you talk about a uniparty, globalist, deep state. This is what's taking over. This is and the CCP. That cabal of people is what's taking over. I gotta tell you a funny thing that the president said to me, our real president, because you say they would be for generations. All I want to say, I just want to get as many people to believe, the believers to evangelize, to get to heaven. But the president said to me, he's so funny, and he goes, remember, everybody, our real president. And he goes, Mike, you're like the Patrick Henry of our lifetime. The guy that said, give me liberty. He wouldn't shut up back then, right? He goes, you're like the Patrick Henry of our lifetime. He goes, they're going to build a statue of you someday so big. And then he goes like this. He goes, of course, they'll tear it down right away. It was so funny, but it's so encouraging to have a friend like him and to have someone that he's the same way. He loves his country, he loves people, and he will not take a step back and say, okay. He could have just walked away after the 2020 and just walked away and said, you know what, let's just let it go. I did what I could, and he got us to this great place. People know now what a good president can do, and or good administration. But he knew that was just part of the work he had to do, and part of it was losing by it being stolen in 2020 to expose all of these things. And I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest things that surprises me, is I can go into all these red states, your Alabamas, your Louisianas, your Oklahomas, Arkansas, and you're blocked by Republicans going, well, Donald Trump won by 70%. Don't you care that it was really 85% or whatever, I mean, it's like, and I, one of the things too, and I'm going to bring this up because people asked me the other day, they said, Mike, these machine companies, and I'm not going to name them all, but they said, what if, just like a name on a computer, a Mac computer, a Dell computer, what if the hackers what if they had nothing to do with it? It's just their machines, right? And you know what I said? I said, well, I've thought of that. But you know what? I mean, I have a lot more evidence than that. But I said, let's just think if I had no evidence. I would go, okay, what if there was 6 pillow companies out there? And you had this big sleepathon across the country, right? And one day, hey, everybody's going to pass out the pillows and everybody can sleep and see which one's better, whatever it is. So they all sleep and they all get up, the people, and say, hey, there's rocks and knives in all these pillows. There's rocks and knives. Now, do you think that the 6 pillow companies are going to sue anyone that says that? I'll tell you what I would do at MyPillow. I would say, hey, here, I'm going to open up a MyPillow and show you what's inside. There's no rocks or knives. It's beautiful, patented fill. But these, not only do they run our elections, okay, the companies do, but they've never said, look inside, we have nothing to hide. Why didn't any of them do that? Even the ones that haven't been in the spotlight, the biggest one is out of Omaha, Nebraska, and I don't want to get you in trouble on your show, but that one hasn't been, you'd think they would have stepped forward and said, there's nothing in our machine, nothing to hide. The whole country would be using them, right? Think about this, everybody. It's so, it's like instead, the way we've been tilting is everyone going, well, let's move. What if the machines don't work like Carrie Lake down there? 262 of them were shut off intentionally so that people turn those ballots into basically ballot harvested ballots. And that's why it's so important that everybody watch this plan on August 16th and 17th. Go to lindellevent.com. You'll get I'll just send you put your email, I'll send you a free audiobook right now, $20. And, we've got, if people watch it, a friend of mine, he has a vitamin place and a supplement place not too far from here. And one of my relatives really needed these supplements, had this ailment. It's pretty bad. And I said to him, do these really work? And he said, Mike, the only way they don't work is if she doesn't take them. I'm telling you, everybody, this plan that's never been thought of in history or even done in world history, the only way it fails is if we don't get enough people to watch. Because come August 18th, the media is either going to attack it or they're going to go silent on it. That's it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
That's exactly right. We already know because that's so predictable. Like again and again, and I keep saying it's the devil. The devil's boring. That's why he can't create. He can only imitate. So, yes, everybody, you must go to lindellevent.com. And you said it was August 18th.
August 16th and 17th are the 2 days. Yep.
16th and 17th.
16th and 17th. The first day, we're going to bring you 12 hours of hope, no commercial free. We'll run right through. We don't stop for lunch and everything. I say we don't take any breaks. There might be a commercial this time. But then the media will say, Mike Lindell lied. He said it was commercial free. He said something about a pillow, and the 17th will be where we reveal the plan to the world. And I'm telling you, it's going to be epic, absolutely epic. Everyone's going to go, oh, they're going to be, people will be surrendering that. They say this is a miracle. They will absolutely say this is a miracle. By the way, this fall, we'll be implementing that in all the elections, right? Louisiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Virginia. But this works in all down tickets too. If you have election in your state and lower school boards, it doesn't matter. Everything is, and we don't have to rely on legislatures or judges or anything for this plan. We need you, the people, and that watch the event. You'll get the plan, and every single person in the country and around the world will be involved. And everybody, yes, it's legal. That was the next thing I'm getting a thing. Is it legal? Yes, it's legal.
Good. Man, we got to do what we got to do. Now, you know what? One more thing before we go here. I want to make sure that we cover this as well. We have recently joined with you at MyPillow, and you guys are sponsoring us. We have our promo code, Kim Clement. And so I just wanted to sort of hear from you a little bit about that. Maybe you could just tell people. I know there's some stuff going on there at MyPillow. So maybe you could just tell us you got some discounts going on. You got an anniversary, right?
Yes, it's our 20-year anniversary, everybody. Back in the summer, in July of 2004, when I invented MyPillow. So all my employees and I We got together. We filmed. You can see the commercials out there everywhere right now. They're holding up their pillows and sleeping. It was a big production. We had so much fun making this commercial. But what we did was something really special. The pillow, I got one right here. This is the MyPillow. This is the MyPillow, the queen size. This is the patented fill, and this is Giza cover, the cotton cover we use on our sheets. So it's a very special limited edition pillow. The queen side normally $69, I believe 98, $19.98 with their promo code there. $19.98. The king size, which I got one right here. I didn't plan this either. They just happened to be in my office. The king size is $29.98. You guys. These are, and they're normally $79.98. So you're getting the best price of any MyPillow in history. If you go to the website too, we still have some closeout slippers at $25 a pair. There's two kinds of slippers. These are our all season. And we still have a lot of women's left. The men's, I believe, are out. But you get them there. You'll never be $25. These slippers are closeout. Yeah. And don't believe what you see in the media out there that MyPillow had this auction. We had this auction because we were not in the retail stores, but we had to get rid of all that retail equipment that's been sitting there like paperweights for 2.5 years. And this is very special for us. And there's all the other items too. You can get the Giza Dream Sheets. We're just making another commercial today. We have over 200 products at MyPillow. I run into people all the time. Mike, I have all your products. No, you don't. Do you know about our dish towels that just came in? The best dish towels you'll ever use in history, ever. And when we reverse engineer a product, we go problem solution. I want dish towels that dry the things, not that feel, hard or whatever. I mean, it's disgusting. And these actually work. These actually work. We have beds. We have mattresses. I don't think people really. We developed the best mattress in history. They're coil and foam. I micromanaged that and developed it. It's amazing. That's all USA. That MyPillow mattress, all made in the USA. But we've got product after product after product. We have sleepwear. I don't know if people know it. We have sleepwear. All this sleepwear, this whole line of sleepwear and we've got couch pillows. I love our couch pillows. You have couch pillows, everybody, and they're just these hard lumps for decoration. What good are they if you can't lay on them, right? So ours are decorative, but you can lay on them, and they're a MyPillow fill, patented fill. You can actually, if you fall asleep on the couch, this feels good. You wake up with a neck like this because of that decorative couch.
Yes.
We have duvets. We have bathrobes. I mean, all these things. You go there, and what we're doing is all of these. You can use that promo code. What's your promo code? Say it one more time.
Kim Clement. Kim Clement. My dad's name. They know how to spell
it. Kim Clement. So they got it. Okay. Okay. But yeah, use that promo code Clements, everybody, and take advantage of that right now. A lot of these products we're doing closeouts because we're bringing in next month a bunch of more new products. And we just got those kitchen towels. We just got them in a week ago. And I just heard we're going to run out of them because it's almost like a test product bringing in, right? And so get those. Those are still fully in stock, but they're going to be out very soon. And,
oh, yes, because I didn't even know till you told me that right now, and I've got about everything. I mean, I love those Giza sheets. I just love those sheets.
There's no better sheet.
And the towels. And the towels. You see, I'm a big sheets and towel person. I like to get lots of them and move around, and I'm always buying yours. And I've been telling everybody, don't shop at Target where they've got Satanists designing children's clothes. Yeah. Rather spend your money at MyPillow where you're going to get a better product. And you're supporting something that's, aligned with our values, right. and especially as Christians. So our people are real excited about our partnership.
I'm going to tell you another surprise too that for you guys. We have another commercial I just did. There's another sister company. I have mystore.com. These are all entrepreneurs. We have bet over the last 2 years USA products. You can use your promo code there too. You guys can both for MyPillow and My Store. Go over there and check that out. There's thousands of products there, products you've never seen before, all made in the USA.
That's what we like to hear, Mike. This is very exciting. So there's our promo code. I got my little white
There you go,
I love my dry erase. There it is, Kim Clement. And don't forget to go to mystore.com. And all made in the USA, and I love to hear that because you know what, that needs to be happening.
Yeah. Yes.
And okay, I think we are out of time.
All
But
right,
thank you so much, Mike Lindell, for joining us today. It was an honor to finally meet you, and I'm going to find you in Vegas at the Reawaken America tour and introduce myself properly.
Okay, all right. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Wasn't that awesome? And so, like I said before, you use our promo code Kim Clement, and you're going to get discounts on everything that Mike Lindell just told you about.
Yes.
And don't miss the election summit. And this is at Lindell. Oh, my goodness, I've lost it. But we have it on the bottom of the screen. You must go and have a look at that. That's going to be the 16th and 17th of this month, which, interestingly enough, my grandmother, who loved MyPillow, her birthday is August 16th of this.
Yes.
It would have been. And my sister Libby's birthday is August 16th. And so that even has a little personal thing for us, isn't that interesting? So do go and look at what Mike Lindell is doing. And you can see it. We let you hear from him today. We did this on purpose. And also he's sponsoring the ministry. And so MyPillow is, and we have our promo code there. And like I said, don't go and support places like Target where you're giving your money to the devil. Go and give your money to a Christian who's fighting for your country, and support something, because that's where you sow your seed as well. It's the same kind of idea. And so, Mom?
With that?
Yes, I think we're done. That was so much fun. We'd never met Mike Lindell before, so I was a little nervous, but that was so great. He's so easy to talk to. So I hope everybody enjoyed that conversation, and do look for that election summit and go and have a listen to what he has to say, because he's been working on this for years, and God put him there to do that. And so we believe that, and we thank you again so much for joining us for Conversations. We'll see you next time.
My name is Jane Clement, and I am the president of the House of Destiny Network.
My name is Donné Clement Petrushka, and I am the vice president of the House of Destiny Network. My dad used to have a thing called $5 in your face offering. And he did that because he understood that sometimes people might be sitting there saying, well, I only have a little bit to give. But I often use the analogy of a car engine. You know, everybody feels like maybe they're not too important, or maybe their little part they're playing is small, or what can I do as I see these things going on around me? And you may think that that's a little bit, but it's a huge amount when we come together and support one another. And so just as little as $5 can help us with our missions. It can help us with just keeping these prophecies, all these prophecies that came through my dad, coming to you. And it takes quite a bit to be able to find it and edit it and present it. And so there's a whole staff of people that work very, very hard to make sure that we can get this information to you. And it is vital in this season because of what was prophesied. And so, again, you may feel that $5 is not much, but it's something. And then you are a part of something and a part of doing something where you may feel like it's, you know, there's nothing you can do. There is something you can do. You can support the people who God has put at the front lines, who are actively making a difference.
I first met Kim in 1978. The price of gold back then was $200 an ounce. Today, it's gone up to $2,000 an ounce.
I can tell you inflation is a real thing because in a very short period of time, just living in the state of Tennessee, I had moved from California. I could see the difference when I moved here, just in the grocery store, and since 2020, the way prices have risen, it's not much different than when I lived in California now.
To schedule a consultation with Beverly Hills Precious Metals, go to bh-pm.com and make an appointment today.
One thing about Mike Lindell, and this is going back to many, many years, we like to support people like him because, number one, he's a Christian in the marketplace, which is something that my dad not only prophesied a lot about, but really truly believed in. And so for many years, our ministry has supported Mike Lindell for being a Christian, but also supporting one another. It makes us stronger against those big tech people who are backed by billions of dollars, that together we can make a difference and get a message out there.
By using the promo code Kim Clement, you're not only supporting Mike Lindell, but you're also helping us reach the unreachable, touch the untouchable, and reach the world with the gospel.
This was sacred to God. This is exactly why I need some action from my people. Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be with you.